Hey, water signs and collective. We got a lot of action going down in Pisces at this time. Being in the North Node and some really significant transits going on with Neptune, also Venus, that brings the water element forefront for all of the collectives. So this is for all of you, but this is a water sign elemental download coming in for Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio, as well as their respective descendant signs. So if you have a rising earth sign, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, this is for you too. We're going to dive right into this. I have a really whimsical download coming in for you all. It's the Druid, only it's Bob Ross. Now, I don't know if you are the Druid, if you're becoming a Druid, maybe you're going through a transfiguration process, perhaps through encountering a Dryad who's spilling some secrets to you. You might be making a connection with a very special treat. You might be surprised to discover how much you learn, how much you grow, how much you change and evolve with the seasons of this tree too. You're noticing a synergistic flow. Tree medicine coming in very strongly, but also the aspect of creativity. And the way that Bob Ross came in for me was I saw a situation where everything is just kind of like humming along smoothly, nothing out of the ordinary. And then all of a sudden, chaos. And right as that energy came in, the cards that I'm shuffling here, which is my new fairy deck that I absolutely love, it's the Fairy Tarot, went flying all over the place, okay? Flying all over the place, and it turns something topsy-turvy. You may be dealing with the topsy-turvies. They purposefully throw everything out of whack, put a wrench in the works, turn everything that was right side up, upside down. I mean, this coming in very strongly for Pisces, right? With the hangman kind of energy, but it's really looking at it in a new way. It's a shift in perspective that actually provides somewhat of a portal, a way to get from one dimension of being to another that's a lot more playful, a lot more fulfilling, a lot more whimsical. There's just like a lot of whimsical energy around you. And I feel that although, this is a situation where everything was humming along smoothly, everything looked like, the deal was sealed, all of a sudden something just goes awry. There's this moment of chaos. But instead of feeling frustrated by this, consternated by it, it's sort of like throwing up your hands and going, well, let's just paint a happy little druid over here with their happy little tree. And that's what I heard. It's like that Bob Ross energy approach to life. And, think about Bob Ross. Bob Ross was pretty wise. Bob Ross probably spent a lot of time with trees, I have to say. He probably got a lot of wisdom from trees. I mean, I can see it in sort of his whole energy signature there. But he packed a big punch, a lot of wisdom, but came in a very unlikely packaging. You know what I'm saying? You wouldn't necessarily look at Bob Ross right off the bat, right? Surface appearances and think, oh, this man is like this sage with so much wisdom that he holds. But then, you get him in his element working with his craft and it pulls something out of him. This could be something coming in for you. You could be working with your element. You could be really honing a craft and it's teaching you something. And as it's teaching you something, you're imparting that wisdom to others. And this can be through any medium. You might be standing before a canvas. You might be painting a happy little druid with a happy little tree in there somewhere. you could just be taking this sort of more creative approach to situations that used to really bend you out of shape. But I do feel like the topsy-turvets are on the scene because something needs to be shaken up a little bit. There could be like a certain level of complacency kind of taking over, and there's a need to sort of stir things up, also get you really into your element from the angle of playfulness and imagination and creativity and all the good aspects of the Jupiterian and Neptunian energy. I'm really feeling the Piscean signature at the forefront, especially with what's going on with Neptune in relation to this. So I do feel it could be helpful to check out your chart. Where do you have Pisces placements? Where do you have action going down in your 12th house? What planets are there? What signs are hosting those planets in the house of Pisces too? Okay, you might want to look at the descendant action too. What do you got going on in the 6th house? Virgo's house there. Also, any Virgo placements you have, where are they? And what planets are they in? All of this is providing a lot of information regarding how this is going to be playing out in your sphere, all right? It really is individualized at this time, even though it's a collective energy, and that's because of all the action going down in the house of Aries, right? So I feel like this is something that is entering a more dynamic space here. Okay, there's some creative process you're going through here, and it's something that is honing you even as you hone your craft. It's like, are you honing your craft or is the craft honing you? It's got a little bit of those vibes. You could be meeting somebody like this and they're awakening something in you. You could be this druid. Okay, I got it coming in both ways. It might be a little bit of a mixed bag out there with the water sign collective, but this is what's coming in. Okay, bottom of the deck, look at this. And we do have strength here. Balance. It's interesting because in this deck, strength comes in as Libra energy. It's actually justice. And we have this in decks, that polarity. Some decks, you have the number 11 is justice, and in other decks, you have the number 8 is justice, and it's interchangeable with the strength card here. So Libra, Leo energy could be factoring into your situation. You could have a strong placement there. Also, Libra's ruler, Venus, has been experiencing an interesting transit in Pisces. Okay, so this is also where the Venusian energy merges with the Neptunian energy and the Jupiterian energy, and it really brings an expansion of the muse on. So we know we're heading into sort of a different flow here. It's a creative flow. And there's some kind of balance that's being established here. But to me, it's sort of like, I don't know why, but I almost feel like these are scales where it's like an alchemical balance, like maybe making up a particular potion, creating some kind of brew, whipping up your secret sauce. And it's like, it needs a little bit of this and just a little bit of that. It's like measuring things out here to just get the perfect balance of elements that come together in the most cohesive way to create what you are doing here. And I love it because with the blindfold there, it's not something that is done by any kind of external sort of information or guidance coming through. It's something that you're totally intuiting here. And it's spot on, okay, with that sort of Ace of Swords energy. Whatever you're creating here, whatever is coming through you right now, it's very authentic. It's very true. It's the true essence of you. And it might be something you've been keeping internalized too. But perhaps because of the topsy-turvets, okay, which are fairies that like to create a little bit of mischief. They like to turn things upside down, and in a sort of way where we have to get really creative to resolve the issue we're facing. So it can pull certain magic, certain strengths out of us here. And I feel like this is what you're in the process of doing. And through this process, though, there's something that at first it's internalized, but then you do share it. And it's something that has a lot of value. And now it makes me think of scales weighing up the weight of gold. Okay. So something's transformed. It's like it begins with a moment when everything suddenly goes awry, or what you thought was going to happen falls apart, but in sort of a chaotic way where there's nothing really to be done about it except kind of go, well, I guess that's what that is. And from there, you take a real different approach to a situation. This could even be with a creative project. It could be like something you're working on here. And it was 11:11 on the clock when I brought this in. There's something you were working on. You had like a vision for it. Okay, it's going to look like this. And you start to create it, but then the creative process itself, it takes you somewhere completely unanticipated. It throws a wrench in the works. And yet it's because of this, something really innovative comes through that's worth its weight in gold. That's what I got. And this certainly could be coming in the realm of the emotional space too, the heart space. This could be coming in the realm of love too, right? Whatever this is, there's some judgment being called here. There's razor sharp acumen being used, very keen discernment, perfect balance, and it's all coming through some storehouse of knowledge, like a book of knowledge. A book of knowledge here. Now, this could be a book of knowledge. It could be a book of shadows. It could be somewhere where you write down your formulas. Maybe you are like an herbalist, or maybe you make tinctures, or maybe you do make potions and brews and you have your own sort of magical formula here. So maybe you got all your recipes written down. You have all your methods written down in your grimoire, in your book of shadows. This could be that. This could be a book where you are writing a story. Maybe your character development was going in one direction and then it went off on a tangent, and suddenly your initial vision, it just totally got discombobulated. But it helps you see things in a new way that actually brings through some brilliance that's worth its weight in gold. The story is going to start writing itself. If you are an author, the story is going to start writing itself. It's sort of like you need to get out of the way because the muse is coming through. That's what I got. And the muse comes through first in a way much like Eris rolling a golden apple through the banquet hall to sort of distract the more lower nature, aspects of ourselves. So they clamor for that apple. and that allows a more pure kind of essence to come through. It allows you to be more like a hollow bamboo, where now the inspiration can funnel through you and create something of true value, no matter what kind of mess you're looking at here. Interesting. And with Leo coming in here and Libra coming in here with that whole swap between the 8 and 11 energies. 8-11 coming in as a number of synchronicity, an angel number. Okay, if you want to do your own research on that, I think that's important. It will mean something different to each of you. You may be noticing lots of 8s coming up, lots of 11s coming up. Just as I said, that's 14:22 on the clock over here. Okay, so yes, some kind of alchemy at work here, harmonizing elements that used to be disparate. That's what I got. Something that was confusing, muddled, a mess, ends up being exactly what's needed to create a thing of brilliance, a masterpiece. because it pulls the master out of you. Ooh, yes. Perhaps it's awakening the druid within through your own roots, through the root of your being. Let's see what we got here. Interesting energy in play already. Let's see what we got coming in here. This might also be taking like some kind of creative new take on relationships. Ooh, and as I said that, we had the Seven of Hearts come out as a crossing energy. So yes. Interesting. Got Empress energy here coming in with the Falcon medicine. Getting a bird's eye view, getting a different perspective. Noticing the signs, noticing the threads of connection, seeing the patterns and how they're revealing a certain design to you. Could be things that you're experiencing out in nature. This is the time for something new to be born. This is time for something new to be born. All of life is communicating to you about this. It's speaking to you. You need to pay attention because Falcon medicine is all about that. Hawk medicine. It's about not only having a different perspective, but it's also about all of life communicating to you. Those aren't just coincidences, they are synchronicities. You will be shown things if you pay attention, and those things will multiply. You may see 6 impossible things before breakfast. This coming in again, it's that air sign download. So there's a lot of kind of polarity here in what is coming in between the air signs and the water signs. And again, they are interdependent elementals. There cannot be water without air. So this here, it's like the energies are merging and it amplifies the qualities of both. Both the air elemental and water elementals are amplified at this time because of the way they're synergistically working together on a natural level with what we're seeing occur in nature. So that is having an influence on our inner cosmology here. You may be experiencing sort of an echo and narcissus kind of energy here with the Seven of Hearts coming in relation to love, matters of the heart, a situation where you're calling for something, you're calling out for what your heart longs for, and you feel like it is responding, but it might be your own voice. It might be your own voice is actually what is responding because it wants you, like Narcissus, to get caught up in your reflection for a while. There's something here with the frog medicine that will cleanse your vision. There's something you will scry here that will give you a new view. And it brings forward some kind of new beginning in your life. This is also really coming to that place of elemental synergy too. There's something you're grokking in the water. It's something in your own essence that you've never seen before. You're seeing it in a new way. There's treasure here. There is the gold of the Tuatha De Danann here. Perhaps that's what you are peering into or getting some kind of awareness around. And with the Empress energy, again, we have both Libra and Taurus coming in here. So these energies on deck. Taurus, you are Scorpio descendant, okay? So this could be speaking very strongly to you. And Ted says yes on this here. So something is being refined and something is getting ready to be born. And in relationships, you may have been dealing with somebody who was really caught up in themselves, and yet you felt really drawn to them, and you felt like the call was coming back, but there's something you're reflecting on now. So I feel like you might be cleansing away somebody that maybe treated you like an option in terms of romantic relationships, or was an option that you were exploring that maybe taught you a lot about yourself. It gave you some valuable reflection here that's helping you heal something fundamental within yourself. You could also be in a space too where maybe you want to get caught up in the fantasy for a little bit. Maybe you just want to be playful. Maybe you just want to explore your options. They each kind of bring a different hue into your life. I'm almost viewing it as like a painter's palette, and looking at all the different, oh, well, I could, play with this energy a little bit today, and that will color my life with this kind of broad stroke here. Bring in this little detail here. Maybe I'm going to, oh yes, let's use that for that happy little druid. Let's bring that happy little druid color into my life there. Okay, this is something like this. It's something like this, or it could even be that you're with somebody who at first was maybe really enamored with themselves, but now they're seeing a different side of you. And now they're like, what's going on there? And some of you are involved with an artist, or this is where you're going to connect with a romantic interest if you're seeking that out. If that's something you'd like to experience or welcome into your life, if you've done enough healing where your heart space is open, it's ready to let love in, you may be connecting with an artistic person here. Okay. Some of you, that may be a Libra, that may be a Taurus. That could be coming in and that way too. Others of you with the house of Leo, I feel like this is something that you're about to create that's going to garner a lot of attention. All right. Might put a spotlight on you. Something fell to the ground here. Ooh, interesting. Magician energy in reverse. Oh, the plot thickens. The plot thickens. Well, we did bring in the Druid. You could be dealing with a Druid in reverse. Or is it in reverse? It could be a little topsy-turvy. You might be thinking that you are dealing with a nefarious Druid working with some dark magic, perhaps to cast an illusion, okay, to create confusion, to have you chasing after mirages. Or, could it be you? Could it be you? Remember this piece. Is it you or is it the other? Are you encountering a Druid or is the Druid awakening in you? And this could also be what you need to see. Okay, this coming through. Who's working who? And that certainly could be happening in the realm of love here, right? This is something that's not seen because it did get kind of tossed aside here. It's hiding, it's a hidden element, but maybe you'll scry it with deeper reflection. Interesting. With that magician energy, we got Gemini coming in, okay? Gemini energy. So that's pretty wild. See, air is coming into the water reads as well. Something about communication here in bottom of the deck with that. Look, the High Priestess. High Priestess is all the water signs. Strong association with Cancer, but it is all the water signs. Okay, it is the water element itself. It's like Laguz. It is the way, right? It is the way through. So the way through is, oh, I see. Remember, you had that book, but the book was closed. It's time to open the book. This is what's going to bring the transformation and something everlasting. Interesting here. Very interesting. Yes, and look at this. Peacock. And with the feathers like splayed out, you know, on display here, something will, going into that Leo energy, it will sort of put a spotlight on you. And this is something where you will be protected from any kind of envy that could come your way. Now, it could be coming from a manipulative magician here, all right? It maybe wants to try to interfere with this spotlight being shined on you, might be trying to veil your visibility here. All right. You can see that. But you're protected here. You're protected here in relation to this. Also, if you have been dealing with some kind of what you feel is spiritual work that's been causing complications, you don't need to go to anybody for that. There's something you already have in your book of secrets that you need to whip out there that's the perfect remedy for what ails you. And something's needed for protection, something's needed for cleansing in this situation. Or you need to be better with your boundaries. You need to ward against certain people. You might need to cleanse away one of your options too, romantically, this coming in as well. I also feel like it's a need for you to protect this as well. Whatever creative project you're working on here, it's something that's going to garner you a lot of attention. So you need to make sure that you don't let somebody sort of manipulate their way into figuring out what you're working on here. I would be especially mindful of any kind of like partnership energy. There is something here where it's under your charge. And I just heard a priestess makes all things sound. Okay, so there's something here where this is something that's been put in your chart. So you need to protect it, you need to ward it, and you need to be aware of not necessarily bringing outside energies into it that could contaminate the vision. Interesting. All right, let's get some more details here. Anything else you want to bring in here? And with that, that's a big message coming in for the Empress energy here, right? There also might be something you're learning here about when you allowed others to become involved in whatever you were creating here or whatever you had been investing your energy toward. It put you in a position where you had to really stand and defend your treasure. And that's like, I feel like Falcon is telling you that there is some energy here that you need to be aware of who would like to get their hands on the treasure that you hold. And it could be this druid. This druid that's been pondering their orb, but with not the best of designs. Maybe that's why you want to paint a happy little druid next to a happy little tree. You're like, you know, how do we switch this up here? I want to switch up this energy. Well, with the Empress energy on the scene, it's up to you. What do you want to create here? This could even be, I could see this. It really feels like it's sort of merging with a creative process, however this is coming through. And I find it fascinating. It's sort of like maybe you were going in a certain direction. You're like, okay, I'm going to have this malevolent wizard in my storyline. And they're pulling all of these tricks out of the bag and they're throwing wrenches in the works. And you're starting to recognize that when you're in a real creative process, when you're musing like that, you become that thing, you embody it. So it's sort of like you're seeing how the creative process is actually being externalized and it's being mirrored in your life. And you're like, wait, how's it happening? Well, that's what needs the reflection. You need to understand that you're the source of it. You're doing something creatively, but it's bleeding over into your mundane reality. Because we really have to look at it when we're entering creative play space like that. It is a space where it's a point of alchemy and transformation. It's when we awaken to the avatar within us and we realize, wow, wait a minute. Oh, this changes the whole game here. And I feel like that's what you're seeing with the Empress energy there. It's the perspective you're getting that you didn't have before. Wow, wait a minute. I got my hands on all this treasure. That could be the way it's coming in. Yes, and I like this because it comes in with the 8 of leaves, which is the air element. And look, the leaves are falling away. So you're letting go of something that was keeping you in this place of inertia. And it allows you to move into action here and to actually start to play a real creative role in what's rolling out here in your life. There's something about something you're working on here that's given you this perspective. And I do feel for some of you, it is coming through in relationships, which is interesting to me. But I do feel like there's something that has been confusing or something that you've been in too much in your head about. And I feel like you're getting free of that by dropping more into your essence, your element, your water element. All right. Interesting. Okay. Anything else here? I'm loving this. And with that, the crossing energy is the high priestess. And it comes in with, look at this, temperance in reverse. So we know that the balance needs to come in because you opened up like that. You opened up with strength, which is symbolized by Libra, that I'm really feeling because of the way it came in the topsy-turvy. It's sort of making me realize that you have to look at it dualistically here. There's something you need to have strength to overcome from your past in order to find the point of alchemy that you seek. And it's something about activating your magic, but there's a way you need to do this to bring some balance to the approach. Or it could be balancing out a bit of alchemy in action, something that was already set in motion here. Topsy-turvy. I'm also seeing it like this. It might be, okay, something goes awry, right? It opened up like that. So you think, oh no, it's out of balance. Everything has been spilled, okay? But no, it's actually quite the opposite. See, if temperance was coming in upright in this deck, it would be spilled. But it's like you already spilled out the magic. In other words, you already set a certain creative process in motion. You already entered into a certain flow of manifestation because of an action you took. And you were set on a certain destination. But along the way, that went awry. Why? Because it's a creative process. It's alchemy in action. You got temperance coming in reverse. Do you see what's happening here? You're actually holding the pot of gold. And not only one, you got 2 of them there. And this could be about some magical partnership as well, or a co-creative partnership where each individually holds their piece. But do you see, it's like at the end of the rainbow is the pot of gold, and you're holding both of them. And maybe that's something that's not recognized too. Maybe you feel like only one can have the gold, okay? Or somebody could be seeing a situation like that, and it's like, actually, no, there's more than enough to go around for all here. And what's crossing is the 8 of bells. And the 8 of bells represents a working in this case. It's a working, and it's a little detail of a particular working, perhaps involving 2 here, okay, that has gone a little bit awry. It's gone topsy-turvy. but it brings balance. It's just not the kind of balance you thought it would, or whatever you've set in motion here, whatever action you took here, you thought it would lead to a particular fulfillment. It certainly does lead to your pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. It's just not what you necessarily imagined initially here. And you're about to take a flight of fancy. And it's interesting, learning to fly, that came in with the air sign download. And see, this little fairy here is hitching a ride with a butterfly for transformation. Okay, so there's something coming in here. Again, butterfly clan, air sign energy, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. Something is in a place of creative transformation. Also with butterfly medicine, color is really important. So there's something about really noticing what colors you're feeling very drawn to right now. They're communicating a lot of information to you. They're communicating information to you about what's going on in your chakra centers. They're communicating information to you about maybe certain qualities that you need to bring more in relation to this secret sauce you're whipping up here, or what a situation is needing, you know. Like if you're feeling really drawn to the color red, a situation might need like a little bit more action. It might need a little bit of fire under its butt. It might need a little bit more passion. It might need a little bit more intensity. Whereas if you feel really drawn to blue, then something might need a little bit more cooling. It might need a little bit more calming. You know what I mean? And where can you find those colors out in nature? That might be places you need to explore. You know, if you're being drawn to red, then you might want to spend more time in the sun, or go where the red rocks are. Go to the beach at night and, you know, have a nice bonfire, have a good burn. You know, there's a transformation point there. If you're being drawn to, you know, blue, maybe go lay down, stare up at the sky for a while, take in a different kind of view. Go and sit by a body of water. Let it cleanse you. Let it speak to you. Let your essence speak to you. All right. So I feel like balance comes through something that's out of balance. And that's where the true gold is. And that's where the alchemy point is. But it's not necessarily seen. And for some of you, this really is like active, a lot of magic in play. And some people say, oh, magic's not real, or, you know, but you're a creator. So any kind of action you're taking, any energy you're setting in motion is magical. In essence, it has the ability to shapeshift your reality. So you got to start looking at this a little bit differently here, okay? And if you are somebody who's very like aware of that, and you're actively an alchemist and you're actively working your path here, then this is the result of some kind of working in motion that's turning out quite differently than anticipated, but we never get to control how the arrow hits its mark. We hold the tension of the intention while we're pulling back that quiver. But as soon as we release it, that's when it's out of our hands. That's when we're at the point when we can't be in our heads sort of thinking about it, wondering how it's playing out. We just have to sort of like follow the signs from that point too. And where the signs lead us might be a different destination than when we thought the mark would be. All right. For others of you, this is in your creative work. It's something you're working on, and you're pouring your energy into this. It was taking one direction. It's shape shifting here. It still hits the mark, just and not the way you were expecting. Okay. So in other words, when you encounter situations coming in here, in the next 72 hours, and do understand these are just themes that are being introduced, and these themes can play out over time, all right? Certainly over the next 3 full moons, with the first one coming in with Libra, which I do think will be a significant culmination point for you here, where you're going to sort of come to a particular point of truth. And this is a truth within you that sort of changes a perspective here, all right? Got Sagittarian energy on the scene as well, introduced with this Temperance, right? So I do feel like with that energy being in reverse, you might not have as optimistic of a view as you should. So when you encounter reversals, any kind of situation where it seems like something becomes chaotic all of a sudden, or, oh, that didn't go as it planned, or now what am I going to do? You're meant to sort of approach it in a playful, sort of creative way, because this is something that's actually going to arrive at just what you were wanting in the first place. It just is a different route there, or not quite what you expect. Or if you're in a creative process, an active creative process, and you're busy writing a book, or you're painting your masterpiece, or you're sitting at the potter's wheel and something goes awry, whatever comes out of it is brilliance, because the muse takes over. And the muse can only take over when things do get out of control. Because if we are too controlled and we have too much of a plan, the muse can't come in. That creative spark can't come in. The creative flow doesn't take over. It's when we get out of our own way that this comes through, okay? So have a more optimistic view. When things go left, they might actually really be going right. When something becomes a mess, it's right before everything's about to come together in the most perfect way. All right, I really feel like that's how it's communicating. And just as it feels like you're being held back and you're not allowed to move into expansion, it's like, no. You're at the starting gate. You're chomping at the bit. Just wait. That's not the gate you're supposed to enter through. Your gate's coming up. Any more details here? Any more details here for the water signs? Any more details for the water signs here? Oh, that deck's speaking to me. Okay, one more round here, and then I'm going to do a Coven deck, and then I'm going to pull up Infinite Tarot. Bottom of the deck. See, ultimately, it leads to your 10 of Hearts. Ultimately, it leads to your 10 of Hearts. And there's quite a few people gathered here, sheltered by this 10 of Hearts. So there's some fulfillment. I feel like this is a case where there's a complex destiny that's woven here. And there's many different characters that are involved. And each character has their 10 of Hearts, their ultimate fulfillment, their pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, their treasure secured. But getting there, it's a creative process in and of itself, because there's lots of twists and turns and things that go awry and things that don't make sense. But it's so each can find their way. And there may be points of intersection along the way between certain characters, but ultimately we each have our own destiny that we are here to enact, our own sovereign assignment that only we can pull that sword from the stone of. Only we can have the strength to carry that out, because it's been what has been charged to us. And this is what we need to remember. It's the tending of our own path on the road to the North Node activation. And you are hosting that North Node position, Pisces. And the polar opposite of you, Virgo, is down in the South Node, requiring that we do pay attention to details, that we do the work at hand, that we are mindful of this and the steps it takes to get somewhere. But in the end, it's one of these scenarios where everybody wins. 44 on the clock, double eights, strength, Strength in this. Strength in this that is awakening. It is a breakthrough moment. It is dagas. Dagas, the room dagas is a breakthrough. It's when the light breaks through the dark and there's the potential of a new dawn. Dagas looks like a butterfly. If you draw it, it looks like a butterfly. So there's some transformation through a change of perspective that's coming in here. Thoughts are changing around something here. Okay, let me do a cut of the deck and see what we got. Oh, I'm just loving this download. I'm loving this flow. Look at that. Here comes the chariot. It's totally the message about the Valkyries that came in on the air download. Look at that. Okay, it's Flight of the Bumblebees coming in here. So that sun's got to find its way to Ragnarok, all right? We know that. Suna is driving this chariot forward to the field of dreams. Those sunflowers can only grow if they have the sun, because that's what the sunflowers do. They turn their face toward the sun. And that's what you're meant to do here. Turn your face toward the sun. That's your way forward here. Nothing's lost. Nothing's lost. But you may have, some impious energies on your tail that, are sort of looking at it from the wrong perspective, or there's a different perspective needed here. See, sunflowers, those seed heads have so many seeds in them. They can grow fields upon fields of dreams. There's more than enough to go around here, but you may be dealing with a situation that feels a little competitive. Who's going to get the sun? Who's going to get the sun before it goes to Ragnarok and a certain destiny is sealed? Could be for a particular empress or high priestess or what is seen as a malevolent druid. Okay. I like it. I like this energy. It's very playful here. That's what's trying to be sussed out here. Yeah, see, look. Somebody is working really hard to hold back a transformation, and could be with butterfly plant. Butterfly is what's being held back here. Some transformation process is being inhibited from taking flight. Okay, so if you haven't tuned into it, tune into the air sign download, because there's information there for you for sure here. And it might even be seen as sort of a playful thing, like somebody's having fun doing this, holding back something from really taking flight. And I see there's other people that are watching this go on. There's observation here. But there's not a recognition of how that's actually sabotaging one's own happiness too. Interesting. And somebody could legit be doing some workings in this regard. Legit. Okay. That coming in. All right, let's check it out. I want to pull out the Infinite Tarot because it's coming in really strongly for you. And we'll just get a little bit of information here. I don't know why, but I am feeling called to do like 3 initiatory gateways lining up with the full moons. The full moon coming up in Libra on the 12th, and then the full moon that comes in Scorpio, I believe on May 15th, and then the full moon that closes out this particular cycle that comes in Sagittarius on June 11th, that caps off spring season for the full moons. Bottom of the deck, look at that. Queen Earth treasure. So now is the time to have impeccable clarity. It's also something is being forged in the fire at this time. It's a pressurizing experience. Interesting how like the red and the blue is like kind of coming in there Ooh, and with that, just had a whole little flock of sparrows fly from the west to the east. Messages coming in, and then from the south to the north. Interesting. From the south to the north, but also it was like flying from, and it's interesting how I called that from the south to the north because I was referring to from the ground up, like toward the sky, but actually the direction, if it were laid out on the map, was coming from below, from the north to the south. So there's something here, it's very directional. There's something that's really getting rerouted here. I feel that. And it's so a certain transformation can take place. It's a pressurizing experience. But when one goes through it, it brings through a treasure. It brings through this brilliance. And it makes one impenetrable as a diamond. Interesting. Queen of Earth. Earth sign energy coming through strong here. Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. Right? Pay attention to your earth sign placements. It matters because the water is the final stage to the manifestation before it's rooted. It's actually seen in material reality here. So this is what really needs to be paid attention to here. It's like a treasure is about to be manifested through something that was set in motion. But it looks like something's going awry because the treasure is not what you thought it was. But the treasure is something of such great brilliance and value. You'll see. All right, let's dive into this here. So let's go ahead and just cap this off with 3 initiatory gateways because I think that feels really complete. So we do have Valkyrie energy on the board here. Right? Some battle has been too long and drawn out, and Valkyries are swooping in to decide who the slain are to lead them to Valhalla. And who is victorious here. So if you truly have been dealing with any kind of nefarious elements, these are going to be contained. But what's really important, it seems, is for you to be reflecting on the correct things here. Don't be the observer. Take an active role. I got that coming in quite strongly as far as like the work to be done. Because there's some kind of transformation that is being held back because of some kind of observation taking place here, not being an active participant, perhaps. There is a chariot on the scene. It is driving things forward, but you're meant to head toward that destination where the dawn is secure. And that's where you're being led now. So pay attention with what's coming through here. All right, 3 initiatory gateways, please. Very, very, really strong coming through here. It's the perfect sort of environment for the Fae to come and play with all the energy we got rolling out astrologically right now. And I love it. So I hope you're tapping into that sort of whimsical, playful, at times tricksy, and, you know, a little impish. That is their energy. But, such wild, wise lessons come through the fairy. It really is a treasure. They bring so many gifts. And with that, there were 2 birds that just flew, and they looked like ravens. They flew from the north to the south. And that's magic. So yes, you're getting a couple of gifts, a couple of treasures at the Tuath at the Donnan. I like this. Good energy. Let's see here. Okay, there are 3 initiatory gateways for the collective, for the water sign elemental energy, for the full moon coming up in Libra on the 12th. The full moon coming in Scorpio on the 15th of May. I believe that's when it is. And the full moon coming in Sagittarius on the 11th. The 11, the 8-11 energy. That makes me also think of August 11th might be a significant day for someone in this scenario. It also makes me think of that's when the manifestation comes into alignment. That's when you see the strength of a manifestation too. It's like when you come to understand something alchemically as well. The result, when something comes into alignment at that time, is like, wow, you understand how all the elements had to come together just so. How all the disorder was actually a brilliant design. Interesting. Okay, let's check. Right, bottom of the deck. See, yeah, something's not ready to be rooted yet, though, with Mother Earth in reverse. Okay, so this manifestation isn't here yet. Now I feel like I got to cut this deck 3 times just to really get it sort of all sorted out here. There is some news coming in, okay, with the Joker of Earth and the telephone here. You could be getting a message, and this is what sort of makes everything suddenly feel like it's been thrown up in the air, okay? That could be that Bob Ross moment where it's time to paint yourself a happy little druid next to a happy little tree, okay? You might want to really work with some of that philosophy, like work with what you got, you know? Work with what you got, okay? Interesting. And then let's see here. 4 of Earth. Yep. Then you'll take flight, right? Then you'll take flight. Then you'll be like that chariot heading toward the sun. There might be somebody, I'm just noticing the dog here barking. There might be somebody here that's maybe warning you of heading in a certain direction. Okay, this could also be what the message is about. Now I'm not going to look at these next cuts here, okay? Because I don't want to know what they are. And then I'm going to do the cuts for each of the moons, okay? So this first cut, we're going from back at the end to forward to now. So first cut here, this is going to be for the Sagittarian full moon, the alignment point, the culmination point. Okay, this middle cut here is going to be for the Scorpio full moon, and then what's left will be the Libra full moon. All right, let's check it out. So Libra full moon, basis of the matter. King of Water, mask. Ooh. So somebody is wearing a mask in this situation. There's sort of like a role that they have taken on that's hiding their true identity, is how it just came through. So this could be a time of a great unmasking where somebody is seen for who they truly are. Their true character is evident. There's a big reveal here. I mean, it's got water sign energy all over it. Okay, Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio. There's a certain mask that is being removed here. This could be a filter. This could be letting somebody finally see you as you are. This could be somebody having some kind of fake account, fake profile. This could be somebody just kind of playing a certain role to keep the peace in the situation, and then they can't contain it anymore. And so they're coming up and out with it, maybe even revealing feelings or emotions that they've been keeping inside here. But either way, something is being seen that wasn't seen before. King of Water. The masks are being removed. The true identity is being revealed. And if you are in a place of scrying your future and you're reflecting here, you may be seeing a side of yourself that you never saw before. You could be seeing the Druid within. Or you may remember that piece about Bob Ross, like an unlikely wizard. You know what I'm saying? So you may be dealing with somebody and you may have a certain like impression of them, understanding of them. And then you look a little deeper and you're like, wait a minute, I didn't know you were working with all of that. That could be it too, okay? What do we have on the top of the deck here? Ooh, Earth family, Earth sun. Wow, look at that, the way the water and earth is playing off of each other. Oh yes, something's been a little bit off. Somebody's been a little bit off in their perspective here. Somebody carries trickster medicine. Somebody's got a medicine bundle. Somebody holds some pretty fierce medicine here. They work with coyote medicine, trickster medicine. It's that kind of Heyoka medicine, which is interesting when you bring in Heyoka energy. It is topsy-turvy. It's like backwards is forward. It's really working with that kind of energy. This was necessary. Had to get lost in the valley of the shadow for a while. Is soon with that full moon in Libra. This is what's happening. Okay, it's like an initiation point with the trickster. Your challenge is to unmask this character, and they may be unmasking you. You could be somebody who works with trickster medicine. It's part of your path. Okay, definite initiatory gateway point here. But this is also the way that we play tricks on ourselves. That's what coyote medicine is about. It's ways we set things in motion that puts us in sort of a position of calamity, but it's so we can learn certain skills, so we can gain certain abilities. I mean, that's how that like Heyoka medicine works. It's something that's absurdity. It doesn't make sense. Why would I put myself through that? I wouldn't do that. Yeah, the higher part of you would, because it knows that this is a medicine that you carry and it's what you're meant to work with here. Right? You'll bring it into alignment. Once you see it, you'll bring it into alignment. Some of you are connecting with a druid. You're connecting with a medicine person here, and they work with trickster medicine, and you're going through a bit of an initiation, and it's up to you to be able to decipher what's illusion, what's a mirage, what's the glamour, and what's real. And once you are able to demask that, then you find the way through. Look for this coming in with the Libra full moon. Whatever it is, it'll get you totally on track with your North Star here. All right? A little test from the trickster. All right? A little test from the trickster, and this could be a matter of orientation. I mean, that was coming in the air sign energy read. So, you know, you got to be aware the counterpart to the moon is the sun, and Suna is who's driving that chariot to Ragnarok here. So if you look back at a particular trickster too, it could throw you off your course. So there's something here about seeing through some kind of deception. And with this magician here coming in with the great horned owl, there is a need to sort of invoke a little bit of that sort of like warrior shield here. Like you have to be prepared for something here. Something that moves under the cloak of night. That's how it's coming in. Okay. Let's check out for the Scorpio full moon, basis of the matter. Oh, I love it. Fire family. father fire. Here's the sun. Okay, so this is the objective here. So I take this as a good sign, because with this as the basis of the matter, I feel like you will pass this test with this trickster, with the full moon in Libra, because I see you got your sun now, all right? And so your goal is to get to Ragnarok with that sun and make sure that you're not getting distracted by turning around at what's on your tail here. So you got your chariot, you're moving forward here. Ooh, I love it. Look at that, 9 of fire. So this is the point of the miraculous chalice. That is the alchemical point. When the fire and the water come together, and it's like a torch that blazes a trail toward this new beginning. Powerful here. 9 of fire. So this is something that you have to protect here, because I think of that 9 of fire energy, and it's like you do have to have sort of yourself at the ready, because there is trickster energy on the scene here. And there is an alchemical point of activation here that is like finally the fulfillment of something that was set in motion is coming in. And it's lighting up the pathway for you to get to Ragnarok with your sun. Okay? But it's also transforming what fills your cup. I see that too with the fire. Because this really, even though it's a torch, it totally looks like a chalice. So it's the activation point. You thought certain something was going to be the thing that filled your cup, or you thought it was the creative vision. But there's something here that goes through a big transformation with that Scorpio full moon. And this is what needs to be protected, because it is your sun. It is your happiness. It's also your hero's quest for empowerment, okay? And then looking with the Sagittarius energy here, what do we got? Ah, there's that dog. There's that dog who was warning you at first. He's like, wow, you fetched it. You actually brought it back. This is what comes in. So it's almost like you're slipping through a portal. You're taking an opportunity to pull off something miraculous. First, you have to best a trickster here. Then you get your correct navigational coordinates. Now you got your sun. And where you were heading with it, it's a little different than you thought. But now you know where you need to take action. And now something's been fetched here, and it's being brought back to root on earth, with the king of earth coming in here. This could even be something, if you're working with some kind of teacher, they're guiding you in this process. They're teaching you how to fetch that sort of ace of wands energy, that power, how to actually quest for the power, how to retrieve it, pull it back, and root it in material reality. They're teaching you how to do this. How do you pull something out of that quantum field so you can root it in material reality? And it's almost like a recognition of achievement here. Good job, you did it. You fetched it. You brought it back. Because at first they were kind of like warning you, be aware, there's going to be stuff that's going to be on your tail. But you fetch it, you see? Interesting. And how does it end up here? Woo! Look at that. 4 of sky, dreamer. Yes. Look at, and all the colors coming in here. And you're sitting at that north node. And here comes the spiral of creation. And it's coming in from above to root it down below. What is it? It's that rainbow. The rainbow with the pot of gold. It leads to you the way through. Wow! That is a real cool read, man. I love this read. What a great collective download, man. I'm digging it. Okay, now we're going to get into the individual signs. I'm just going to kind of like set these aside though, because this was just like a really cool reading. So I kind of want to, I don't know, I might make this the thumbnail for this read, just this visual piece. The right people will be drawn in to see it according to the visuals. There's something about the visuals, like the images too, and how they communicate to you at this time that's of significance. This is really interesting. I wouldn't think normally of using this deck for this read, but it's what I'm called to. I'm getting out the goddess guidance cards for you, okay? Let's see here. I'm going to change the banner. And we're going to start first with Cancer. Cancer at 11042. Ooh, bottom of the deck. Ostara, fertility. Wow, Cancer. This is interesting because according to the old Norse calendar, working with a 13 moon lunar system, to mark the passage of time, a full turning of the wheel, Ostara actually falls on the Libra full moon this year. So there is a growth point that's being activated for you here. With fertility, I mean, be mindful if you're not interested, and it came in at 111.33. If you're not interested in having a baby, you might want to be a little bit careful there. Take your precautions because I do feel like you're entering a really fertile phase right now. And certainly that could be something that seems to throw everything into chaos. Like, what? I'm pregnant? Maybe there could be something about that that's like, I shouldn't be able to get pregnant, maybe because of your age, or maybe because you were told that you would have problems conceiving or something like this. Just be aware, okay? Use backup if you need to. This is important because I do feel like it could get a little tricky there. But I feel like really there's something here that you're sowing for your future. Seeds you're sowing for your future. There's new beginnings coming in here, and these new beginnings are really going to bring a lot of growth with them. And there's something here with this, like, look at these beautiful daffodils there. So there's something here that's also about really reflecting in the days leading up to the full moon, which there's only a couple days left here. Really reflect on what you're wanting to sow here, because I feel like at this time, what you're investing in, it carries a lot of potency. It does bring some powerful point of manifestation for you. There's some new project you're starting here. It's a brilliant idea that's coming in. You want to put energy toward this. And there's new conditions that you're wanting to create in your life. So this is sort of like the basis of the matter. And something you need to consider here. What are you wanting to create? And what do you need to do to really set that in motion? And maybe reflect on things that interrupted progress in the past so that you can really ward these things that you're wanting to bring into being at this time. It is quite significant for you, Cancer, okay? But this is a time of new beginnings for you. I do see your circumstances really going through a state of renewal. Something's changing. Something's really changing in your environment. It's like a fresh breath of air. It might be a moment of exhalation too, where you finally feel like, oh, finally, I got a little breathing room. It might even be making more room in your schedule too, so you can really focus on something that is important to you, something you're really wanting to get started here, okay? Yes, and you're also entering a time of great sensitivity with white Tara. So do be aware of how your environment is affecting you, how certain connections are affecting you too, what situations you're dealing with. This may even come down to certain like food sensitivities or sensitivity to different house cleaners you're using and so forth. If you've been noticing you've been having like certain reactions, you might want to really pay attention to what your body is communicating to you. But I think this is about just really being in a space of heightened sensitivity, really being able to feel a lot of what you're taking in from the environment around you. And there's a need to be mindful about this and the way it can affect your new beginnings and what you're wanting to set in motion here. So it may be necessary for you to start to pull your energy back from really harsh relationships or not spend time in environments that kind of bring your energy down. Maybe do something to enliven your own environment, your home environment. Maybe just make things feel a little bit more uplifting. This could be with certain colors you're bringing in, since that came in here. Also, I feel like there's something that's just in its beginning stages here for you. And because of this, you need to really guard it with care. You need to be gentle with yourself at this time, too, because even though this is a real beautiful cycle that's opening up for you, you feel sensitive stepping into it as well, because it's something new and it's moving out of what has been sort of, a resting place for a while into greater expansion. And even though these things can be really positive and stuff we look forward to, it can stir up a lot within us too. Okay, what else wants to come in here for Cancer Spirit? What else wants to come in here for Cancer? What message does Danu wish to deliver to Cancer? Danu, the Queen of Fairy, Mother of the Twatha de Danu. The roots of fairy itself. This is such like a fairy read. It came through for you. Yeah, see? Diana, focused intention. So this is pretty wild because that whole imagery came in about really like, you pulled back the quiver and now it's time to release, release, set your sights on where you're going to focus your intention. And then that's where you need to keep your focus in order for you to really secure the fruition of these new beginnings. You need to keep your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions focused on your target, your end goal, all right? And you will make your mark. So this is you also really stepping into a sense of selfhood here when we're looking at the energy of Diana. This is you really standing in your strength. This is you knowing exactly what your goal is. You know where your new beginning lies, and you know what you have to set in motion to get there. And then this is like, that's your only focus. This is really asking you to put all of your awareness on where you're going at this time, because you have everything you need to hit the mark here. This is something really good. Okay. It's like you're shooting for the moon here. You may feel like you're shooting for something really lofty, but I do feel like you have the ability to hit your mark. All right, let me go ahead and do a cut of the deck here. Just get further information coming in. Okay, give some attention to your home with Vesta. This might be where you're needing to shift things in your environment. For some of you, this could be good news coming in about a new home, and this changes things for you. But there is something at home and something involving your situation at home that's really improving here. And yeah, you definitely could be changing residence, or it could have something to do with the people that you share your living space with, where there's something happening here that's creating transformation. And it's very positive for you. You might want to work with sort of like dimming the lights at night too. Maybe just so you can enter more of a relaxing space, bring in more warmth from the flame, from candlelight. You might even want to work with candle gazing a little bit to sort of focus your energy, focus your intentions. It's excellent for calming the mind and sort of taking out all the sort of disruptive thoughts. And it's also an excellent way to release anything that's been burdening you to the flame. You just hold in your mind's eye the point of stress or what you want to transform, and then you gaze into the flame with single pointed focus, and you send the thought to the flame and allow the flame to transform it. That's how you can work with fire elemental here. You can do that with cauldron work too. Okay, this kind of coming in for you. And then what we have on the other side here is the arts. I love it with Sarasvati. So the arts, there's something new that you're learning here, because Sarasvati often comes in when you're entering a new learning cycle. You could be studying the arts. You could be studying the alchemical arts. This is possible. And there's something you're really discovering here. You're finding your own magic. You're creating your own blend. Some of you may be doing this. This is also you diving more into your creativity. You may be making music here. There's something that you're working on here. It's a learning process. It does involve some study, but it's a mode of expression that is part of your transformation. See her foot resting within the lotus flower that's unfolding here. And there's a lot of grace in this. This is your way forward too. So I feel like this is important as well within your home space, to create space to work on any creative projects that you're wanting to set in motion here. Anything that you're pouring your energy into. There's really some indication here that you need to devote some time and attention to this, because you're meant to express yourself through creativity. It's your way through. And maybe there's something that's been going on within your home environment that's made it really hard for you to focus on these new projects or creativity, that you want to sort of immerse yourself in. I also feel like this is finding a creative solution to a home issue, and it's allowing you to make a real healthy change here that supports you. There's a cool creative way to get through the challenges that you're facing at home. And it will also bring about healthy changes with those that you share space with if you live with others, right? So it looks like the transformation for you is really taking place at home base. And I think of home, and it always comes right back to you too. It's also about, you taking time to pour into yourself. But there's big transformation happening here for you. It looks really positive, Cancer. All right, let's go to Scorpio. All right, Scorpio. Let's see here. In Cancer, it's kind of coming in with Scorpio too. So, maybe you have a strong Scorpio placement. It sort of came in between. Whatever this is, Cancer could be filtering into your message to Scorpio. Whatever this is, it brings you infinite supply. Okay, infinite supplies where you felt like you've been lacking something you need, resources, a space to relax, a space to just be able to finally let go of everything, a space to renew yourself, a space to heal, a space where you can actually have productivity, enter a place of financial flow and abundance. It's coming in for you. Okay. I feel like that's for both Cancer and Scorpio. It's kind of filtering into both messages. 12424 for you, Scorpio. Okay, so let's dive in and see what wants to come in here for you. What is the memo for Scorpio? What is the memo that's coming in for Scorpio? Spirit, how is this energy going to be playing out for Scorpio, be introduced to Scorpio over these next 72 hours? What is coming in for Scorpio, Spirit, in relation to this energy? What is coming in for Scorpio, Spirit? Ooh, yeah, I think it was coming in a bit for you, Scorpio. We got Lakshmi, bright future. So Lakshmi brings abundance, but a lot of people misunderstand Lakshmi. They look at Lakshmi and they just think of the treasures, they think of the jewels, they think of the riches, but she's so much more than that. And she is very much connected to Ganesh. And Ganesh is the remover of all obstacles. And you see the Ganesh energy there is warding over the sun. So there's some sun that you are reclaiming here. And there's been a lot of obstacles, maybe obstacles achieving success, obstacles getting to the other side of something and being able to find that light at the end of the tunnel. Currently, obstacles are being removed and a bright future is assured for you. But there's another thing that Lakshmi brings in. Lakshmi brings in an abundance of beauty, and she embodies this quality of sort of luxury, to be able to just luxuriate in the beauty of being. And it's also about the beauty that comes from rising up out of the mud, no lotus, into the beauty of the unfoldment of spiritual illumination and understanding. So there may be a lot of obstacles that you've been facing. You may have felt really thwarted or held back. It may be hard to see how something can turn around, but I do feel like it's time to stop worrying, because it's sort of creating a sense of paranoia where you should have more of a state of pronoia, that all of life is coming together to work on your behalf to secure this bright future for you. Everything is going to work out a lot better than you expect. And I'm noticing the hands here, okay? You know, it's sort of like her mudra, one hand up, one hand down. And it's also about the balance of the flow too. It's not just about receiving, but about giving. And so there might be something here where there could be a block that you need to look at. Now, if you're one who gives and gives and gives and gives and gives, the block could be coming through in the sense that you need to start opening yourself up to receive. You may have some kind of blocks in place around receiving that you need to look at. Okay. Conversely, if you're one who is more just sort of expecting things to be given to you, this may be time when you need to give a little bit more toward that desired outcome you hope to achieve here, all right? Either way, I do see you sussing out where the obstacles are, and you're getting some help clearing some things from your path so you can find a way forward here, okay? What is coming in for Scorpio in relation to this spirit? What is coming in for Scorpio in relation to this energy in play that's introducing itself over these next 72 hours? What is coming in for Scorpio spirit? Okay. Ooh, yes. Sekhmet. Be strong. Okay. Sekhmet is a very fierce energy, man. Sekhmet, don't play. Okay. So this is really, look at the lion imagery there. I mean, this is really about evoking that strength. You need to evoke your strength to overcome what you feel is getting in between you and that happy outcome you're hoping for here. You're wanting to see the dawning of a new day. You need to get that sun to Ragnarok, but you're going to have strength to ensure this happy outcome. And it is something that is assured, but it does require you to trust in a certain strength or power you hold in a situation where maybe you felt like you've been dealing with just so much resistance or opposition. You might be tired. You might be tired of waiting for something to come to bloom, but it is set in motion. It's already happening on the quantum field. Something is starting to blossom in your life here. And, this may at first feel like a little disenchanting because I do feel like you've been heading in a particular direction. You've been throwing a lot of energy that way. You've been feeling really held back. But it's needing to really trust what your intuition's already told you here, Scorpio, about I need to veer a little bit, off that track, and I need to try this approach. And there might be a little resistance around this because you've been sort of very much focused on just throwing your energy in a certain direction, in a certain way to get to a certain desired outcome. But that's not working, and it's not showing you the results you want to see. And I do feel like you've already had some kind of inspiration that's come in for you, like, well, maybe I'm really meant to do this, or I should try this instead, but you've been reticent to do it. Perhaps because you've been sort of just stuck in your ways or really determined, to see something through. But where you're exercising your strength, you might need to flip it up a little bit. Maybe it takes more strength to deviate from a certain path you've been on, to try something new, to take a more creative approach to it, to do something that's a little outside of the box, and like paint in that happy little druid next to a happy little tree. Wow, hawk medicine. Hawk flying here now. Where's hawk flying? To the west. West is the direction of the water. Yes, there is something you've already dreamed up here. You've already had a new vision come in, or it will very soon. This could even be something that's come in for you when you've been meditating, just sort of in the in-between spaces, when you've been staring off in the distance, just wondering, when's that ship going to come in? You're just getting started. I know. You may feel like, what? What do you mean I'm just getting started? I've been at this for so long. Yeah, but see, you're getting a little bit of a course correction here. It's like you think that you're almost at the destination, but the way you've been heading has been a little bit off the mark. And what's coming into bloom now is actually what you're meant to do. And you're just getting started. So be patient with yourself and this process. And don't give up, because something beautiful is coming into bloom for you here. Right? Let me get some more details around this, because I understand now might be a little frustrating to hear. Because I think you're at this point where you're like, man, I've already been strong. How much stronger do I need to be? I feel like when we're looking at blossoming, it's like as soon as you take a step in this new direction, you already see things starting to unfold, but it's going to take time because it's just at the beginning, right? This is something new that is blooming in your life, all right? And it's different. It's different than what you have presently been really working hard to bring to fruition, but you've just been meeting one obstacle after another. And sometimes that's because we're being slowed down. It's like, no, don't go that way. If you just chill out for a minute here, you'll understand where you should really begin to put your focus and your energy here. Okay? What's coming in here? Ooh, yeah, something wanted to come out there but didn't. All right, what do we got here? See, something is going to pay off. Abundancia, prosperity. Real big prosperity vibes coming in for you. The cornucopia will pour out upon you. There's going to be so many blessings pouring in for you here, I'm telling you, where you're wanting that point of fulfillment, where you're wanting the success, where you're wanting to see the tangible reward, where you've been working really hard and you're like, where is the payoff? Where is the payoff? Where's my harvest? You're going to have something to celebrate here for sure. It says be open to receiving. So this may be what's been blocked. You may be really good at expending the energy, putting yourself out there, giving yourself to something. But maybe that's sort of the problem. Maybe you need to pull back a little bit. Maybe you need to change your flow a little bit. Maybe you need to allow some space between what you're putting out there to reverberate out and sort of draw in, magnetize the rewards of your efforts. I do feel like it's coming in, but you need to be open to receiving. We can't be in a receptive space if we're too active. So if you're one of those people that kind of burns the candle at both ends and you're always just like striving, a lot of times that can block avenues of abundance because the energy is too much output and there's not enough input coming in. So I do feel like it's saying, chill out a little bit, luxuriate a little bit, create some space to just sort of like drop in and embrace the beauty of where you're at, because there's more to unfold here, but you got to create space for you to really receive this. Your fortunes are on the rise. This looks good. You are going to have something to celebrate here. You are going to find that pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. It will pour into you here. I see it. Okay. Let me do a cut of the deck here to cap this off for you, Scorpio. See what we got. Oh, wow. And just like Cancer, the key here is, set your intention, have your focus, take your action, and then let go. Create a little space here. I feel like this is really coming through for Scorpio, like you've really been driving hard at something and you need to create a little bit more of that ebb and flow. So the success, the reward, the harvest, what you're looking to call in here can actually pour into you because your energy is just, it's almost like the more you throw at this thing, it's pushing it further and further down the line. And that's an obstacle in and of itself. It's sort of saying, look, you already made the way. You already blazed the trail. And now there's a new way you're meant to sort of head down that road. And in order for you to be carried into the successful period, now's the time to just, yes, have your intentions, have your focus, but it's time to learn how to work in a new way too, flow in a new way. Stay focused on your target, yes, but that doesn't always require that you're actively throwing stuff at it. You know what I mean? Sometimes that's just about creating space to allow inspiration come in, to allow the next step to be revealed to you as well, rather than trying to force it because you're eager to get somewhere. You know what I mean? I feel like this is a more relaxed approach that's coming in. But again, just like Cancer, there is the need to stay really focused here. Yes, it's a lofty goal, but there's every indication that you're going to hit your mark. This looks like a time of success. For you, it's all about that with Queen Mauve coming in here. Honoring your cycles and your rhythms is what secures the North Node for you, okay? You need to make sure that you're paying attention to your emotional ebb and flows. What's going on with your body, where's that at? Where your energy levels are at, these are things that you need to be in touch with because it's all communication for you. So when we're looking at what we're wanting to call in, it is all about an energy exchange. And if one of those channels is blocked, whether it's the giving or the receiving, the output or the input, then you're going to have disruption in the cycle of manifestation. See, this isn't meant to be such hard work here. It's meant to be like a dance where you just flow with the rhythms, you know? You flow with the rhythms of your life. So I'm going to look at this in multiple ways. I mean, we've already brought in sort of like the success piece, the financial piece, and how to approach work. But in terms of your body, if you got goals, like maybe you're trying to get in shape, you want to look your best, but you've really been just sort of like just going at it really hard, you know, I don't know, with Sekhmet and Be Strong, maybe you're even taking up strength training, okay? And maybe you've really been pushing it, big gains, you know, go hard or go home. Like this might be your mentality. And there might be a little bit more coming in about, well, can you create a little space for rest too? Can you create a little bit more room for recovery? Can you create a little bit more space to maybe explore the way your body wants to move? Maybe not have such a set plan. Maybe go with the flow a little bit. And that might feel a little disconcerting. And yet there's something that's really revealed to you there that really moves you forward. It actually allows you to experience more rapid progress than when you were really trying so hard to get there. There's almost like a letting go that's required. You might, you know, want to hit certain goals in terms with if you're trying to like drop weight, or you're wanting to, you know, put on muscle, or you're wanting to change something here about your physical health. You're maybe hoping to hit a mark too fast. And it's sort of like there's a whole process to this as well, you know? So just give it time to play out, because there's something you discover along the way there that you don't want to miss. There's something very valuable that comes through that process. And it's also really respecting the rhythms of your body and coming into a position of balance with that. Likewise, your energy levels. Don't take stuff on when you're worn out, when you need to rest, when you need to sleep. You're not going to be able to give your best if you're giving from that space. When you give and you're in a place of feeling really depleted, it's going to be reflected in your offerings. So this is something you want to be aware of too. And then your emotions, right? Pay attention to where your emotions are at, what you're feeling, and create space too for that, so you can process things when you need to process things. This is essential. So it's really interesting how it came in for you. For you, it really is all about that energy output versus what's coming back in. And something here needs to be balanced out. And that's where you really need to keep your focus, and also keeping your focus on where you want to go, what's going to give you happiness, putting energy in that direction, but also understanding it's not a race. You know, you'll get there in proper timing. You're being carried there. So start to go with the flow. And the more you tap into this and really honoring where you're at in your rhythms, and you respect that, you create space for that, you're going to see how it has a positive effect in every area of your life. It's going to improve your work. It's going to improve the quality of your work. It's going to improve your success. You're going to notice that your finances are on the increase. You're going to be feeling better. It's going to change your relationships. It's going to change everything for you. It's going to change your physical health. So this really is for you about going with the flow is your key. And I do feel like there's things that are going to be coming up over these next 72 hours. They're going to make it clear that this is absolutely essential for you if you hope to get where you want to go. Okay. Coming in quite strongly for you. All right. Let's go finally to Pisces at 144.10. All right, Pisces. So 10's the point of endings and new beginnings. And as I put the deck back together, we have Ishtar, boundaries. Oh, but Ishtar is so much more than just boundaries. I do feel like you have others here who are placing demands on you, situations that are a bit draining of your time and energy. You need to create some boundaries around that. And that's funny. You could have a little bit of that Scorpio energy filtering into your read too. That's interesting how there was sort of like connecting points coming in. So I do feel like the water collective as a whole, this is really messages coming through for all of you. The water element is really being influenced at this time by what's been set in motion planetarily. And it makes sense. Water is a conduit, okay? So I do feel like boundaries are important here. You're noticing some drains on your time, on your energy here, resources in some cases coming from other people or situations. So that right off the bat. But let's get to the deeper meaning of Ishtar. This is also about shedding the veils of illusion. This is about shedding the adornments at each of the gates as you're journeying through the underworld before you arrive before Ish Kriegel and go through a transformation, big point of initiation, where then you rise like Inanna, queen of the heavens. So this is that kind of like empress energy coming in here. You're going through a transformation. You're loving parts of you that have been held in the darkness back into the light. There's a special jewel that you're plucking out of that darkness. It may have involved you opening up Pandora's box, but you couldn't have come across this treasure in any other way. Okay? Could be a Capricorn connection coming in relation to that, because I know there was a similar messaging about opening Pandora's box that came in for Capricorn. Did it come in for Capricorn? It came in for Suelu, and the download that was for the air sign collective. But why did Capricorn come in? That's interesting. Oh, I get it. Maybe that's how that water energy is all intermingling. Capricorn rising would be a Cancer descendant. So there could be Capricorn or a Cancer playing a prominent role in your situation. There could be a mother or motherhood playing a role in your situation. There could be something about pregnancy here. There could be something you're about to give birth to. That could even be the birth of a new beginning. For those of you who know, that's not an option. Okay, there could be a mother that's playing a significant role here. There could be something that you're retrieving out of the roots of your past. It's related to your mother, or maybe there's some gift that you inherit through the mother that's coming through too. There's something here about home base too coming in for you. It's also really the Cancer connection coming in. Okay, interesting. It's also finding the place where you belong, this message coming in. All right, let's see what this is for you, Pisces. Bottom of the deck. Una, easy does it, okay? Take it nice and easy. There's the rainbow symbolism coming through for you too. You will take flight. You will ascend into a time of peace here. You don't need to feel any sense of being pressured. So whatever you're dealing with here, where you feel like time, circumstances, other people are draining you or creating some sense of urgency, you can just tell it all to chill the F out, man. And it was 1:49:11 on the clock when I brought that in. Yes, I do think it's important for you to create some space for yourself here and some boundaries around people pulling on your energy so much. And you don't need to work on anybody's timeline here, okay? This is about you really going with your own flow. You also don't need to force anything to happen. So if you have been trying to make something happen, it's time to let go, because you're not going to be able to make something happen before it's time either. This is all about timing for you. You may be putting yourself under too much pressure because you're feeling like this should already be done, or this should have already been completed. And so you're trying to push something. You could be trying to push someone as well. Okay. This could be a little bit of a mirroring kind of energy. There could be somebody that's putting pressure on you that makes you feel a sense of urgency. And like you have to force something to move along a little faster, maybe because somebody else is putting some fire under your butt. Could be a fire sign as well. Could be a Capricorn. Could be a Cancer, just with how that energy came in. But what I got is you don't need to do that. Everything is happening in perfect timing. Okay? So there might be something going awry, or something that feels like a mess, or something that feels like a little chaotic. And there might be a lot of pressure, like this needs to get fixed. This needs to get fixed now. And you may just sort of be like, you know, I don't know, does it? You might be asking that question, does it? Does it need to be fixed? Maybe it doesn't. I don't know. I've tried throwing so much at this. I've tried to make it go faster. I've been trying to work. I don't know. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe I just need to like chill out for a while. Maybe I need to take it easy for a while. This is important. There's a need to take it easy, right? Let's see what's coming in here. Also, something doesn't need to be so hard. You're going about something the hard way when it's supposed to be easy. Okay, so let's see what this is about. In fact, that might be an indication. If it feels really hard, if it feels real tough, if it feels like it's such a demand on your time, your energy, then maybe, you know, that ain't it. Compassion, okay? You need to have a little bit more compassion for yourself. You need to stop being so hard on yourself about this. Also, it's about not being so hard on others either. This is about releasing judgments around yourself, around other people. And it's really about focusing on the most possible positive outcome for everybody, all right, in a situation. You're dealing with somebody like this that's putting a lot of pressure on you. You know, they're only thinking about what they want. They're not thinking about what works for you here. And that might cause you, you know, to feel a lot of judgment around a particular person. You might want to let somebody have it, because I started feeling like blockage coming in around the throat. It's like, hold on. Release your judgment. You don't want to go there. Now's not the time to focus on that. There's a need for compassion in a situation. And compassion, 4:44 on the clock over here, okay? So yes, there's a need for compassion in a situation. Something is being dealt with too strong of a hand. It needs a softer touch. It needs a softer touch. You know, there's something that needs to be understood. Somebody might be needing a softer touch with you as well. They're finding that they're getting nothing but gridlock. It's because they're coming at you too hard here. They're too judgmental. But there is something here about too many judgments in a situation are causing a problem. Judging other people for their path, the way they're walking, judging how they're dealing with a situation. There's a need to bring more light into a situation where there's a lot of shadow that's been operating. There's a need for more sensitivity, more compassion. And compassion is incomplete if it doesn't include us. So if you feel like you're being really compassionate toward other people, and maybe that causes you to over-deliver or make yourself too accessible to other people, and it's creating an energy drain on your time, on your resources, or even just the space that you can hold, this is really about you recognizing that you need to extend a little bit of that compassion towards yourself. And this is wisdom. Because there is something you need to see through here, some kind of deception that needs to be seen through clearly. And in order to see through the deception, there might need to be a little space created here. And this can even be ways that we deceive ourselves into thinking that this is the correct approach to something when maybe it needs a little bit of a different touch. And it might be reflected back to us a bit in the way we're receiving others' energy too, right? There's something here about mirroring compassion, right? For yourself, but also for others in a situation. I feel like once you get this space and you can kind of untangle what you're feeling and what you're experiencing from all the demands from other people, and needing to hold space for their experience and what they're feeling, then you can really get in touch with where you're at, what's coming up for you. And it's only then that you'll find a point of stillness, because you won't have the enmeshment of others where you're sort of taking on all their stuff too. You'll be able to separate that a bit and create a little bubble of space for yourself where you can drop in, and then your waters will be still. Your waters will be clear. Things won't feel so murky. You'll know what's true, what to do. And you'll be able to take appropriate action then without any sort of delay. And that, I feel, will be what hits the mark. There's something about approach here. And it's kind of been coming in for all the water signs. An approach that needs to be tempered a bit with inner wisdom, because there's something a little bit off in approach that is causing some issues here. And with that, we have breathe. Don't back down. Stand up for what you believe is right. And this is that point where once you get in touch with what's going on here, you're going to know what is true and what to do. Then is the time to take action. And it looks like there's something you're taking a stand for here because you feel justified in this. This feels right to you. This feels like, yes, this is the action I need to take in this direction. Now, Bree, she is the goddess that is associated with that Caradwen energy, okay? So this could be a certain transformation you're after here, that you're on the hunt for. And there's a particular person maybe that's connected to this that might feel a little elusive to you, but something is in the process of going through a transformation. There is a golden opportunity here. I see that with Yamanja. But when we look at the Orisha, Yamanja, that is connected to the ocean, she is the source, and you're intimately connected with the ocean. But you see, there's something coming in here. We got the dolphin medicine. So yes, I mean, A Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. It's coming in again, that collected download that came in here. There's something here where a golden opportunity is being presented to you. But it's an opportunity that can only be found when you sort of like release judgment about the surface appearance of things, because there's something much deeper at work here. Source is at work here. And there's something here that is being transformed. It's so it can be renewed. It can be rebirthed in a new way. It's currently in the process, when we look at that hunt energy, of transfiguration. Something is already in a state of transformation here. It's shape-shifting by the minute. So to get in the middle of a process that's already set in motion, it's already in flux, it's not in the state of becoming yet, is really just to sort of throw yourself in the middle of the goop stage. You know what I'm saying? It's not going to make it happen any sooner. The transformation takes the time that it takes. And all the elements involved, or all the characters that are involved in this process, they're each going through their own becoming moment too. So there's no real telling how things are going to shake out here. But what's clear is that a certain course of action is not in alignment. It requires a softer touch. It requires a softer approach. And it also requires removing the sort of sternness of so much judgment around something here. And it's only when this is illuminated within that the creative fire is lit. And that's the fire that when it merges with your water, this is like that cauldron of Dagda energy, where now we can get something cooking, something that's going to nourish all here, the fulfillment point. Whatever this activation point is for you, this is where you will focus your energy. It is your creative fire. It is your sun. It is what drives your chariot forward so you can make it to Ragnarok before these sort of other deceptive elements, illusory elements, distracting, draining elements that are robbing you of your time and your precious energy pulls you back into the deception of that darkness. Nothing is shrouded here. Your sun is on the horizon, but this is a need to release judgment about the way it's sort of rolling out and not allow others' judgments either about a certain course of action you're taking or what you feel is the right thing for you to do to influence how you move forward here. You can have compassion for their position and why they would feel that way, but you also have to have compassion for yourself if heading in a certain direction feels right to you, and this is what you need to do because it's how your creative soul's fire is asking to be expressed now, right? I do feel like there is a golden opportunity opening up for you here, and you are meant to head through this door, right? You are meant to move into this expansion. I don't think there's just one door opening for you, though. I feel like there's several doors of opportunity for you to explore. And maybe that's also what needs a little bit of breathing room. It could be that you've been just so focused on one direction, but perhaps it's time to allow yourself to also explore some of these other doors of opportunity that are showing up in your life, because I do feel like they are about to present themselves. Something here has you moving forward with more of a spirit of playfulness and just really enjoying the process, okay? There's something that you're stepping into here. It's like manna for your soul. It brings you such fulfillment. A lot of blockage around this. And yet, when Yamanja blesses, she also requires that you give yourself completely over to her source of renewal. So often we greet the Orisha Yamanja when it's time to release something to the source's charge. And I feel like that's what's happening here, right? Once you get this space, once you release yourself from these judgments, these demands, and you untangle the energy that's sort of too entwined with yours, you create this awareness around the wise course of action. It becomes very clear. I do feel like once you arrive there, you won't back down. It is your golden door of opportunity. And it's because of really, truly entering the flow, giving it over to source. And that's what opens up all these doors for you. These are doors that they can't be kicked down, right? But once you feel that fire of inspiration that comes through creating this space of not taking on others' projections, others' judgments, others' energy, it's very clear how your creative energy is meant to be used, what direction you should be heading in. What is that thing that you cannot back down from because it's your soul's calling, okay? There's a lot of blocking energy here. So I'm not sure what that's about. I'm not sure what that's about. But I do know that it's going through a state of transformation. And there might be ways that you're blocking that transformation that you're not aware of right now, but you'll see. And I think it's more because of something that you've taken on that's not even yours at all. It's from something outside of you. But that's only going to be recognized once you kind of like get the space for yourself, you know, have some good boundaries here and create that room for you to just sort of like, you know, have some breathing room, take it a little easy and see something with greater clarity so your waters can sort of settle here. Let me do a cut of the deck and see what we got. Comes in again, Una, easy does it, okay? No need to hurry. There's nothing to force here. Forcing things won't make it happen. Everything is occurring in its perfect timing. It's not easy to hear. Receiving's really hard. A lot of times we feel more empowered, you know, when we're taking action towards something, but it's like, no. And this could be a little bit of, you know, a spirit coming through too, saying, hey, you know, have compassion for yourself. We get it. It's hard. You're tired, you know, you just want to get to the other side of something. It's not time to act, but you'll know when it's time to really move forward here. The illumination will come. The transformation point will come. Your golden opportunity will come. Your time will come. You may be wondering that. When is it my time? It's coming. It is. It is. But you got to let it arrive. You know, it's like you want it to come, but that's the thing. You're charging toward it. You're not letting it come to you. You gotta let it come to you. You can't charge toward it. Let it come. When's my time gonna come? Well, when you stop chasing it. Let it come to you. That's on the other side here. Interesting. Tamara, guiding children. Guiding children. This may have to do with like a really young part of yourself that's kind of acting up right now. It may be something that goes real deep. And that might be why you need to have a little bit more compassion for yourself. You need to slow down a little bit. You need to take it a little bit more easy. You need to be a little bit more sensitive. It could be also you're dealing with somebody else, you know, that's in this position. And that's why there's a need for compassion in this situation. There's very young parts that are speaking at this time. But I could see this if you felt like, you know, your whole life from the time when you were really little, that you were always waiting for your time, your moment, you know, where you always had to sacrifice for others. Or if you were a child that was always put in a position of having to be more grown for your age, like you were raised in an environment where you had to take charge, you know, you had to be the parent. You may be a little bit frustrated, and it might be time to sort of activate that inner parent, you know, and show up for yourself in that way, to have compassion for that part of you that feels like, well, when is it my time? When is this going to come through for me? And that might be why you're so determined and you don't want to back down, because that's the way you always had to deal with things in the past when you were younger. But you don't need to go about it that way anymore. And it's also sort of like, you know, spirit saying, you know, take it easy. Let me guide you. Let me care for you. You know, this also might be really connecting with spirit on that level, like a loving parent. And if you're finding like avenues are closed to you, this is interesting how this is coming through. There might be something there about, we brought in the mother piece, okay? But there might be something there about the father. because you can have all this creative energy and you can have this desire to really bring your creative energy forward. But the avenue needs to be present for it to come on through, which is all about the masculine element. And this may be like taking on that role when there's something that needs to be healed in terms of the father, or you could view it through the lens of, I'm just going to call it this because I think it will click for a lot of people, relating to the concept of like divine masculine, exalted masculine, like the emperor energy. What does it mean to be the emperor? The emperor isn't about using a whole bunch of force. Like the emperor just like holds court in that way because of a sense of inner authority, right? Sometimes non-action is the action, to just be seated in one's power. And that's what you don't back down from. You don't back down from your throne, you know? You don't back down from that position you already hold, from certain lessons you've learned. It's by staying seated in your power in that way that the doors of opportunity fling open to you, not through exerting that power in a forceful way. I could see that too. This also may be like something that needs to be healed around the masculine, something that needs to be healed around the father. And maybe one way that that can be approached is through connecting with spirit in that way. You could be somebody, I mean, I don't think it's an accident. I felt pulled to bring out the goddess guidance cards. So this is sort of like the God energy coming through now. You know, don't forget about me, you know. It may be about connecting with the masculine aspect of deity, of spirit, as a loving parent. And that can be done through God as God, you know, wherever you feel like the deficit lies. But I can tell you, if you're in a position where you always feel like you're mothering others, that can come from not having the avenue, not feeling that protective quality of the masculine, not feeling that support of the masculine. So one feels like they have to mother everything, and that can become distorted with too much force. It can become smothering. There's something being brought into balance here. Also, you could be reflecting a lot on these things, certainly if you are about to have a baby. All right. Or if you're doing some kind of work that involves children, and some of you do have a path that involves children, you are able to really help support children and help them tap into their creativity, tap into their own sense of self. You're able to nourish that in children. There may be some kind of counseling work you're getting into, maybe even art therapy, working with children, and doing some kind of healing work with children could be coming in for you as well. But I do feel like where it's related to motherhood or fatherhood and a baby is on the way, there may be a lot of reflection around this and doing a lot of healing around your own childhood so that you can do what you need to do to show up in an empowering way for your children, okay? There's something about you using your skills to help children now, right? That's coming through. Maybe even be an opportunity that's opening up for you to work with children. Maybe you never expected doing this, okay? Or maybe there's something that you're offering that will somehow be of support for children. This could even be something creative you're working on here. But you are meant to use your skills to help children now. Interesting. So there could be somebody young that you feel like you have to be an advocate for too. I could see that. Like you can't back down. Somebody needs an advocate in their corner, and you're taking a stand for this because you know it's what's right. Or there may be a particular cause to you, a cause that you feel like you have to champion here. And it may be something, a cause involving children. maybe even the missing children. This may be something that you feel really called, to take a stand for. Real powerful messages coming in here. Compassion. Whatever this is, it requires a gentle touch. It looks like it's some kind of healing process, but it also may be something that informs future work you do and an opportunity that is coming your way, okay? Take it nice and easy with this, no rushing. I want to get just one more message on this because this feels pretty potent. And it also feels like it's kind of bringing something through on a big collective level here. One more message talks about this. What is a key here that really needs to be taken away from this download for the collective as a whole here in relation to what's coming in here? What is a key coming in here? Yeah, isn't that wild? Saraswati, it's a learning cycle. Okay, the arts. The arts are at the forefront. The alchemical arts, the art of alchemy, how to balance those things out, how to transmute the leaden stuff of our souls that's always held us down into the stuff of gold, into the true treasures, into the riches. This also, it involves some kind of creative process here. So this could be like, again, getting into doing some kind of like art therapy with children, or this could be healing parts of yourself using your creativity in a therapeutic way to help heal the inner child within you, the young parts inside of you. This could be something that you're creating here that's specifically geared toward children. You could be writing a children's book, or you could be involved in children's theater or something along these lines. But whatever this is, it feels like there's some kind of crossing of purposes here. And I mean that in such a way where certain things overlap in such a way that it creates a way forward for you, that it forms the work you're doing in the future. There's big doors of opportunity opening up for you here. You're meant to walk through them. And I do feel that where there is the young part of you that's been waiting for your time, I do feel that it's coming. And it may be through you really allowing yourself to bring that creative idea to life. Like, don't back down on it. Okay? This could be coming through in that way too. There could be something that you want to create here, something that you want to do. It's the work you want to pour your heart into. And it's what feels natural to you. It's not something you have to force. It's not something that feels artificial. It's not a role you need to put on that doesn't really, work for you. It doesn't fit. It's uncomfortable. And you know what you really want to do here. You probably want to head in a more creative direction. And there could be people around you that have certain judgments about that. Like, that's not the responsible thing to do, or, grow up. You need to do, something along these lines. This is what will lead you to success. But you can't deny like what your soul is communicating to you. And there may be something here that you need to like sort of ward, from the interference of others. And yeah, there may need to be compassion here because these people may frustrate you. But at the same time, they care for you. They're trying to do what's in your best interest, or they're trying to guide you in the right direction. But they don't understand that you know what's right for you. You know where your inspiration lies. You know what golden opportunity is for you and what you want to pour your energy into here. I do feel like as long as you trust this inner fire of inspiration, and as long as you allow yourself to really balance out these two aspects within you. It feels like the masculine, the feminine, the active, the receptive, and really understanding what it means to be seated in your power. That it doesn't have to be demonstrated through force. It's not through pushing the river, but it's really through entering the river. Saraswati is a river goddess. It's through entering the river and going with that flow that is your element here, that you actually arrive at the source that is your golden opportunity. And from there, this playful cycle opens. And I do feel like you make it. You make it. You walk through the door that you feel is right for you, despite what other people think. And something here is beauty. It's a thing of beauty. It's a thing of art. It's you in partnership with the creative. Beautiful point of alchemy. I loved this read. I loved everything that came through. Okay? So believe in your dreams. Believe in the things that set your heart on fire with inspiration, but allow them the space and room to become what they want to be.